welcome to MashTalk, the show where we catch up with the most interesting people in tech. I'm your host, Mashable Tech Editor Pete Paschal. This is a very special edition of MashTalk. I'm super excited. We're here at CES 2019. Right now, we are talking with Amazon's Pete Thompson. Hello, Pete.
Hi there. How's it going?
It's going great. Welcome to the show. Welcome to our show and the show.
Great.
So let's just dive in. You obviously work with Alexa. You're a big part of how it connects to third-party services. So Alexa is a big story at the show, has been for years. But as I understand it, this is the first time Amazon actually has an exhibiting space in the main show. Can you tell me why you did that this year and what you guys are showing?
Sure. So Alexa turned 4 last November. So she's
Nice.
she's 4 years old. Yes. And a lot has happened since then, to your point. Now, voice services is one of the big messages here. Last year, every year we've just had meeting spaces here.
Right.
Really, we try to make CES about our partners and supporting them and helping them get the Alexa message out through their booths. But what we found is last year there was a lot of demand and interest from people walking by our meeting space to be able to engage with Alexa.
Yeah.
And just in Amazon's culture is to very much embrace customers and partners and to allow them to be part of that. And so we wanted to open up a space this year to allow that. And what we did is we basically set up pods in different environments, like your home, at work, or on the go in cars. And basically we were showing all of the different Alexa-enabled devices, both Amazon branded as well as third-party branded, to show how they work together and just to show the huge breadth and depth.
Nice.
So it's an exciting thing to be able to show here.
But was it also at least partly in response to what Google's done the last couple of years? I got to say, last year at this is CES 2018, they really surprised people by having such a massive presence at the show. They seem to have doubled down on that, talking a lot about Google Home, and it's like you can't throw a stone without hitting a Google billboard here and talking about their smart home efforts. Do you feel like they're running away with the conversation, at least in places like this, and you needed to respond?
No, I don't think so. There's a nuance to the Amazon culture, which is we don't usually do big trade shows like that. That's
Right.
not how we approach things. Again, as I mentioned, we're here more to support our partners. But we did want to do this because people know that we have a space and there's a lot of people walking by. We wanted to allow them to come in and actually see the breadth and depth, but we're not trying to compete in any way. But I will say, at this stage in the market evolution of voice services, it's great to have other companies promoting and marketing a lot of money, because it's really just about getting overall market awareness out there and demand, and it shows the credibility of the category.
Right, and it's definitely the partners thing I get loud and clear. At your hardware event last fall, that was a big emphasis. You talked about different hardware and the new dev kits that you have for different types of stuff, even like microwaves can have Alexa built in now. It's really exciting, but the thing at the show here that I see most talked about in terms of a barrier Alexa is breaking through is the car. And that's been that was a big focus last year. It's again a big focus this year. Now, I feel like there's a lot of talk about it, and I also, certainly car is it's not a thing you replace all that often, and there's like a whole different timeline on getting services in there. But can you talk about the challenge it's been, and sort of also the things you've done over the past couple of years to push Alexa in that direction, how it's going? Yeah,
sure. So auto is definitely one of our big priorities. We see that as a big opportunity for customers and a big desire for them to be able to use a voice service. You want to be hands-free in a car. You think of things you want to do and you don't have time to write it down. You're not in the right place for it, or you're in a specific location and you want information about that. So it's perfect for voice. So that's why we're investing in that area. In terms of what we're doing, we're really investing in all types of areas. So we have our own product that we've done in the aftermarket called the Echo Auto, and that's coming out. We're showing it here at CES live and working.
Nice. So this is the first time you're showing it working,
yes.
right? Because I know you announced it at your hardware event.
Yeah, we announced it back in September, but now it's live. Yeah. And then we also have a lot of third-party products, partner products that are aftermarket, where you plug them in. In fact, I have an iAudi product right here that
Nice.
I just picked up when I was over at the exhibit space. I think I took the second one they had in the back. But this is really exciting too, because it basically holds your phone. You just put it in there and it snaps in, and you have mics built in here so you can talk to it, and it does everything you'd want to do with Alexa.
Nice. It connects wirelessly and to your phone,
yes.
I assume, and then you kind of, so it's very kind of seamless. I love the idea of this. I got to tell you though, I've tried out some of these third-party things, and this was probably about a year ago, so I know things have changed. They're very hit and miss, and the car is not a place I want to be spending a ton of time trying to figure out connections and is it hearing me and is it not. You know, it's very important to kind of get that right, I think. What progress have you made there? And you know, when will we sort of see the dream where it's really just built into every car dashboard?
Yeah, so you kind of got to go back. I mentioned Alexa's 4 years old. When we started, we wanted to build our own product called the Echo. We weren't really sure if it was going to take off or not, but we built it because it was voice first on all the design principles of when you can't see or touch anything, how do you make it work well? So we built it ourselves. We didn't build it in terms of let's make it for developers. Right. So we got it going. It turned out to be a huge success. And then we spent time creating, you know, figuring out how to externalize the guts of Alexa, hardware and software, and providing that to developers. We're primarily around other speakers. Okay, that was sort of the first iteration. As we've gone into new environments and new device categories, obviously you need to make tweaks to it in terms of the SDK, the APIs that you need, as well as sort of the testing and the certification on it. And so with Auto, we're now at a point where the code base that we're building for our own products, we're now providing to third-party partners as well. So they're getting the same full feature capability and the same update ability. So I think that's a major step. The second part is we've created certification environments, testing labs, specifically for a car environment, with the outside noise, with the ambient noise, making sure that we're tuning the ability so that you do get the you know, when you say Alexa, it hears you, you know, very well, and it responds the right way.
Yeah, and you don't,
so those are big improvements.
Very different from a kitchen, where you have the far field mics, and the car, it's a different environment, noisier, tighter space. I imagine totally different sort of algorithms.
Yeah, so we've had to go from just thinking of something, a speaker six feet away, to having to think about cars, having to think about microwaves in the kitchen with all the other noises. So we've created different testing environments to make sure we're figuring out how to tune the Alexa and the wake word to make sure that
and then there's other factors like the chips in the cars that they run on entirely different base software,
operating systems,
the UI. I mean, it's just, you can go on and on about how different it is from just doing like your own home program.
You had mentioned, just to go back to Auto for a second, that I was talking initially about the aftermarket products, where we're also working with integrating, and it's in the exhibit, with Pioneer, Jensen car stereos that you can put in that have Alexa built in into their head units. And then obviously we've announced working with BMW, with Audi, with Lexus, Mercedes, a lot of companies where they're over time putting it into their head units, totally integrated. But as you know, with the cycle times of cars, that takes a longer time.
That's the dream. Yeah. And it's probably a little more complicated than just a firmware update to your 2015 Toyota or whatever.
Exactly.
So one of the themes I'm definitely getting at this show, like partners, the bigger name partners like LG, Samsung, all these guys, they're putting Alexa, Google Assistant, and to some extent Siri and HomeKit. They're kind of excited to announce them. Like even at Samsung, which I was at their event yesterday, and I tweeted about this. It was good to see them, even though they have their own assistant, Bixby. They were like, we're excited to work with Google, Amazon, Apple, all these guys, because we realize consumers aren't necessarily just talking to one assistant all the time. And so certainly people have their preferences, but I'm finding, like I'm talking to different assistants for different things. And I don't necessarily think that's going to converge into one at something. Maybe, well, I'm sure that's your dream, that it's all, but it's also like, I know you guys partner with Microsoft and Cortana. Do you sort of see that this is where things are going, that it's like the future has room for multiple assistants?
I'm glad you brought this up, because this is a topic I get all the time. So our position at Amazon is that customers should have the choice and flexibility to switch between voice assistants whenever they want, right? And we have a mental model of sort of friends, that you probably have a handful of close friends that you go to for different things. And you don't just go to the same friend for every piece of advice or expertise that you need. You want to have different people, sort of domain experts, right? And so we have partnered with Cortana, with Microsoft, to be able to interact. We've worked with Facebook. They just came out with a device called Portal. They have their own voice assistant called Hey Portal. And so basically anytime you want with that device, you can go back and forth between asking an Alexa question or asking Portal. And that product's getting 4 out of 5 stars on Amazon. It's coming out very well. So customers are enjoying the experience. So we're spending a lot of time figuring out the interoperability and thinking that we need to get that right for customers, and that's going to be the world. Now, there may not be more than a handful of voice assistants over time. It's a huge investment to get it right and to keep going and to figure out how to make it natural. But in the end, we're working with a lot of people. A couple that you may not know is we just announced some international carrier partnerships in France with Orange and Free.
Nice.
And they have their own, sort of like Samsung, they have, Orange has their own voice assistant called Jingo. So you basically say, okay, Jingo. It's a French local voice assistant. So for a lot of things, that's what a customer would want to interact with. But then they also have Alexa for anything else. And I think that's the model that we're going to see more and more of.
Nice. So I'm glad you brought up Facebook.
Okay.
Because I have to ask. So I feel like CES is almost a bit of a bubble in that this isn't necessarily every company, but for some of the bigger name companies, they're very excited about AI and whether it's an assistant or some other predictive technology, and getting to know you, your lifestyle, making decisions. That all sounds good, but it also, I feel like the thing I'm not getting at the show that's absent is the conversation that has been prevalent in tech the last year and a half about digital privacy, about people are much more aware now about sort of the bargain they're making when they're introducing these systems into their lives. How do you continue to encourage the enthusiasm I'm seeing, but also making sure customers are aware of this and that you are taking pains to protect the privacy?
Yeah. It's absolutely vital for this category to succeed, for customers to have trust and to feel good about their security and their data privacy. So, and that's a fundamental tenet that we start with everything at Amazon. I think what, we are very focused on as we're, obviously our Echo devices, we have our own security team. We spend a lot of time on it. When we work with outside partners, we have security requirements. And in fact, every partner has to go through an outside independent security company to do a test and to make sure that we've done all the right approaches so that we're maintaining that data privacy, but we don't share utterances. There's no voice recordings happening. There's no sharing of the data between partners. So we very much feel like we're holding to that trust and we're maintaining that security for our customers.
Nice. So what's the thing you're most excited about in Alexa voice for the next year or so?
Yeah.
Go ahead and reveal all your secrets.
So last year CES was all about sort of taking Echo and having a bunch of other wireless speakers out there with Alexa in it. This year, as you'll see, we have dozens of announcements coming out over the next few days, and they're all in other types of categories. So TVs you're going to see, appliances, set-top boxes, computers, all of these things are now going to have Alexa in them. So as I reel forward from this, it's not just about, we spent a lot of time figuring out how to do the tech enablement. And now when we roll forward a year or so in the future, it's going to be, customers are just going to expect voice services are embedded in everything. And now it's going to be about what's the value to them? How do you make it natural? How do you make them feel very comfortable? The fact that they can say Alexa wherever they are, and it knows them, and it figures out how to bring value to them. Yeah, that's going to be the future.
Even when I walk into a room in my house that doesn't have Alexa now, I'm just, I got to walk over to the bathroom or something. It's like there's an expectation now. My kids are growing up that way too. It's got to be everywhere.
Yeah. These things are always easier for kids to adopt than other, because they don't have preconceived notions of other types of UIs. But we think
and they will always find the most irritating way to use it.
My daughter just came back from college, and her favorite skill that she showed me was this thing called Get Me Up. And basically it is when you set an alarm and you don't want to wake up, right? So you say, Alexa, get me up. And it basically, she starts talking to you and singing to you and saying, are you ready to get up? And if you keep saying no, it's very playful, and she'll keep bugging you basically until you wake up. Not something I thought I would enjoy, but I love it actually. Yeah. So I've been using it.
Wow, I got to try that one.
Yep.
Pete Thompson, thanks so much for dropping by the show.
Thank you. All right,
Cheers.
enjoy the show and look forward to our announcements.
Likewise.